farming for 53 years, and 50 years of those I spent in the development and natural breeding of canola. I was known in Western Canada as a seed saver and a seed developer. Besides being a farmer, I've also spent 25 years in public life. I was a member of Parliament, and I was also mayor of my community for that length of time. And in those years in public life, I was on every agricultural committee you can imagine, both federally and provincially. And I've always fought for farmers' rights and farmers' privileges and farmers' regulations and laws that would benefit them.
Our family comes from a long line of share renters. Our farm has grown quite dramatically in size over the years because we have always been honest and fair with people, and I believe our landlords realize this, and that's why they come to us to rent us a farm. It has been heart-wrenching to watch our reputations be destroyed in our own community over something we did not do. My family has been enduring a living hell since this began. I am sure this is what led to my father's recent heart attack. A few weeks back he had a heart attack. He has been physically and emotionally shattered since this began, as our whole family has been. I want to share with you my family's experience regarding a very dark side to patented genetically modified crops. My family is being sued by the Monsanto Corporation for alleged patent infringement. Monsanto claims we saved Roundup Ready soybean seed from our 1998 crop and replanted it in 1999, and they believe we continue to do so. I can assure you people, this absolutely did not happen, and we have a ton of evidence to prove that. And why Monsanto continues with this is only God knows. In the summer of 2000, my family and I were discussing how rude we thought it was that Monsanto never sent us a letter or thanked us for cooperating with their investigation into our business that they conducted in the fall of 1999. We were stunned when in late July of the year 2000, we received a letter from a law firm in New Orleans that was representing Monsanto Company, accusing us of infringing on their patent. How are we to go back in time to get crop samples to disprove them a year later when we were faced with these allegations? This is part of Monsanto's strategy. Every accused grower in the United States that I have talked to had nearly identical stories on Monsanto's tactics.
In 1998, without any previous warning or any indication at all, Monsanto launched a lawsuit against me, and in that lawsuit they stated this, that I had illegally obtained Monsanto's genetic altered canola without a license, and that I had infringed on their patent. Before the main trial, Monsanto withdrew then all their allegations against me that I had ever obtained a seed illegally. And they went on to say that it didn't matter how the seed got on to my land, I still infringed on their patent.
In the suit against us, we have tried to be as cooperative as possible with Monsanto. We have sent them all relevant information that they have requested regarding our soybean crops from 1997 to present. They have even asked for our tax returns dating back to 1996. When we sent our interrogatories to Monsanto, refused to answer any of our questions, claiming work product doctrine and attorney-client privilege. When we asked their claimed independent third party who gathered their supposed samples for the location and the results of the samples taken, they told us they could not answer those questions because they were retained as expert witnesses by Monsanto and instructed not to answer. We feel that we were profiled by Monsanto because of the size of our farm, and that they wanted to try to make an example out of us to scare other farmers into never saving their own seed, to be too scared to save their own seed. And that's happening.
So eventually, my case went to court after 2.5 years, and Monsanto dragged me through those courts in pre-trial. They did everything to break me and basically took all of our retirement funds because just my lawyer fees alone, up to date, have been around $200,000. And what did the judge rule after 2.5 weeks of trial? It didn't matter how Monsanto's genetic altered canola got into my field. And then he went on and specified. He said whether it cross-pollinated or if it blew in by the wind, by birds, bees, animals, or falling off a farmer's truck, a combine, and so on, it didn't matter. The fact that there was some plants there, I violated Monsanto's patent, even though I didn't want it in my field. Number two, which is the most important one, I think, he ruled any farmer that has a regular conventional plant, it doesn't matter what kind of plant, if it's a tree, if it's a seed, and it gets cross-pollinated with Monsanto's gene against your wishes and destroys your property, my plant becomes Monsanto's property. Now stop and think what that means to farmers all over the world, farmers, gardeners, anything to do with a life-giving form. My property becomes Monsanto's property against my wishes and because it gets cross-pollinated by their gene. The third issue he ruled, the fact that I never used Monsanto's patent, which means I never used Monsanto's Roundup Ready herbicide or glyphosate on my crop, he ruled that's immaterial. He said the fact was that there were some plants there. So that shows you the extent of the power of patent law over farmers' rights. Now, what did we do immediately after the judge came down with that decision? First of all, we launched an appeal to the Federal Court of Canada with 3 judges, and that's for the Federal Court of Appeal, which will probably be heard next spring. We also launched a counter lawsuit against Monsanto, and in that lawsuit it states this. First of all, there's a liability issue now. If Monsanto has a patent, that still doesn't give them the right to release into the environment a life-giving form that they knew they couldn't control. They had no intentions of controlling, and now it's out of control. So there's a real liability issue. If anybody can patent a life-giving form, where do you stop? What about animals, birds, bees, insects, fish? And how far do you go? And ultimately, we said, can you patent a human being?
Monsanto is a bully. Monsanto is a thug. For fun and profit, it has long been tampering with the world's food supply.
How does Monsanto regulate their contract? To me, it is the most vicious, suppressive contract on the face of the earth. People don't realize what is going on in North America, in Canada, and the United States, and the rights and freedoms of people being taken away. Monsanto gets farmers to sign a contract, and in that contract it states you can never use your seed. You sign all your rights away to be able to use your own seed. And as I said to you, under federal law in Canada, you're always allowed to use your own seed. Also, you must buy the chemical from Monsanto. You also must sign a non-disclosure statement that if you happen to use some of your seed the following year, and they find out about it, they can fine you or take all the profits from your crop or make you destroyed. They can say anything about you, but you cannot say anything about Monsanto. You must pay also a $15 an acre each year, a technology charge. What is the most revolting part of this contract is that you must allow Monsanto's police force to come on your land for 3 years afterwards, go in your granaries, go on your land with or without your permission, and to check to see if you're cheating or not. What I have told farmers all over the world, never ever sign that contract. Never ever give up that right to use your own seed, because if they do, they'll become slaves and serfs of the land. This is an advertisement that Monsanto has in brochures, and on the bottom it says, if you think your neighbor might be growing Monsanto's Roundup Ready canola without a license, squeal or rat on him. And what happens after that is that Monsanto's police will come out to this farmer's and this farmer's house or his yard, and they'll come into that home and they'll threaten the farmer or his wife and say, we got this tip or rumor. And that's always what they say, tip or rumor. And if you don't come clean, we'll get you, we'll destroy you, you won't have a farm left. This is in a free country, and they get away with it because if a farmer catches them in his field and he says, you're trespassing, you're taking some of our grain or some of our seeds or plants, and Monsanto says, okay, take us to court. And if you do, we'll drag you through the courts, and by the time we're through with you, you won't have a farm left. It's the power of money and might. So you can imagine, what does this do to the social fabric of a community? When a farmer gets a visit from two of Monsanto's police, and generally they come in pairs, he'll think after these police leave, was it this farmer, or my neighbor, or that neighbor? And so you have the breakdown of working together, of trust amongst farmers. And in North America, the same as here in the United States, farmers had to work together to develop our country. And now you have a company that is so low that is trying to break down that social fabric of our community. They don't stop there. If they don't find a farmer at home, they send a farmer extortion letters. And I mean extortion letters. And in this particular letter that was sent to a farmer, we don't know how many thousands of these letters they send out. But basically what they say is, we have reason to believe that you might be growing Monsanto's genetic altered canola without a license. Please send us, in this case, $28,750, and we won't charge you. So these are the extortion letters. Not only that, it goes on to say, you agree that Monsanto shall, at its sole discretion, have the right to disclose the facts and settlement terms associated with this investigation and settlement agreement. And you may not say anything to anybody about it. A total muzzling of farmers' freedom of speech and rights. We estimate now there's over 2,000 farmers now that Monsanto is ready to charge, depending what the outcome of my case is. We estimate that they've investigated at least 40,000 farmers in North America. So that's the extent of their police force. Monsanto has had 35 ex-Royal Canadian Mounted Police that they have hired to interrogate and harass farmers.
Monsanto is not going to stop until we stop it. And that is the basic message here tonight.